Now, War Thunder is one of those games that I've played for such a long time but never really got round to making a video on it. But I think today is that time where I think it's really worth making a video. But I'm not going to do the generic commentary over War Thunder gameplay. I'm going to do something different that might spark your interest. Today is going to be the first of my War Stories series. Here I'll find some interesting war stories from different types, and if of course it's about World War II, I'll be playing in games such as War Thunder or World of Tanks and things like that, or of course we can go into different time areas as well, so make sure you leave down in the comments if there's any war stories you want me to cover. But I hope you enjoy this first episode of War Stories, and this is the Battle of Britain. So sit back, relax and enjoy today's video on War Thunder. Between the 10th of July and 31st of October, one of the most important battles of World War II took place, fought between the RAF and Luftwaffe. It was described as the first major military campaign fought with only air forces. I'll not be talking about the British or the Germans that took part in the battle though today, but some unspoken heroes of this major campaign, the PAF, or Polish Air Force. In 1939, when both Germany and the Soviets launched attacks on the Polish borders, after hard fighting, Poland was finally crushed by the overwhelming forces on both sides. Soon after, a large number of Polish servicemen headed to French soil in order to take back and get back on their feet. With this, the Polish Air Force started to rebuild. Despite their past in military campaigns, the French widely ignored the experience and will of the PAF, and therefore training in the force was inadequate, to say the least. They had obsolete equipment and little space to do so, and of course the French didn't take too much notice of this newcomer air force. There were hints of the Polish expertise when in 1940 the German invasion of France began. Only 174 Polish airmen were used in the battle, although against all odds they showed themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, distinguishing themselves with over 52 confirmed kills. Many Polish pilots thought to go and try their luck out in Britain though, and by early June 1940 a total of 2,164 airmen had reached Blighty soil, and later over 8,000 Polish airmen would have set foot in Britain. The setup to regaining the prowess had begun. Unfortunately for these pilots, the British were much like the French, questioning the capabilities of these new arrivals and therefore casting them out to the side, for the moment at least. Soon later, Britain were beginning to get desperate, losing many RAF pilots to the advancing German Luftwaffe. They needed another option. So in 1940, various agreements were signed with the Polish in order to create separate Polish Air Force divisions. Unfortunately for the Polish, they had trained on new equipment and under new rules, learning to fly British planes with different controls to the Polish counterparts. Learning English as the language to communicate was an essential for the task at hand. But the RAF came with a new interesting idea to try and teach these newcomer pilots the ropes. Pilots of 302 and 303 squadrons were ordered to ride nonetheless but tricycles, all equipped with radios, speed indicators and compasses, and they would ride them around the airfield in flying formations. Of course, pilot officer Jan Sumbach wrote in his memoirs, "The British wasting so much of our time with their childish exercises, when all of us have already won their wings." As you can probably tell, the Polish were a little bit annoyed by this training method. But on the 13th of August, Hermann Goering launched an all-out assault on Britain. This was known as Eagle Day. Sergeant Antoni Glowacki of 501 Squadron, who on the 24th of August claimed 5 enemy bombers, which were shot down in 3 combat sorties over one day. This was an amazing achievement for these newcomer Polish pilots and really showed to the British their prowess. He was one of only 3 pilots who achieved ace in a day status during the battle and recalls the day's actions in his memoirs. "Suddenly, a Defiant, with a Messerschmitt 109 on its tail, flashed across my path between me and the Junkers. I am now firing at the Messerschmitt, and to see my burst sink into its fuselage and wings. He has hit and goes down closely behind the Defiant, which trails black smoke. Both aircraft crash into the sea below." In the following weeks of the Battle of Britain, Polish pilots showed astounding skill and discipline within the RAF, short becoming a huge turning factor in the effort. In the Battle of Britain, Polish pilots serving in all RAF squadrons achieved a remarkable score of 203.5 kills and destroyed, 35 probables and 36 damaged enemy aircrafts. Of course, there are other sources that give around 131 kills, as there is generally a variation in figures for claimed kills. The entire RAF score was lowered from 2,692 to 1,733 aircraft destroyed due to the discrepancy between the British and German official figures. Such an amazing feat by these Polish pilots could not be achieved without a price though. 29 Polish pilots, included Ludwik Paskowicz and Józef Franciszek, lost their lives in the battle. Air Chief Marshal Sir Hugh Dowding stated this: "Had it not been for the magnificent work of the Polish squadrons and their unsurpassed gallantry, I hesitate to say that the outcome of the battle would have been the same." Of course, these pilots soon became celebrities in Britain after the incredible war efforts they included, being looked at by people of all backgrounds with British society. It is important to remember that pilots fought and died on both sides. Whether wrong or right, men followed orders and did what needed to be done. So that's an interesting war story today about the Polish pilots in World War II, and especially the Battle of Britain. They're not a group of people that you hear too much about, as we normally focus upon the RAF, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this war story today. Remember to leave in the comments if you have any more ideas of different time eras that you want me to cover as well. I've been speaking to the War Thunder developers, and they say if I'm willing to do more of these War Thunder videos, they'll happily give me golden eagles and things to give away to you guys, so if you want some of them, make sure you leave a lot of support in the comments. I can't wait to be researching more of these war stories and doing them in the future, but until then, I will see you in the next one.